Hello everyone, welcome back to my video channel. In this video we are going to learn about histology of tongue. Okay, histology means study of tissues, and we know that see now if I am making this video or I am trying to communicate with you, this is all because of the tongue. So I should say thanks to tongue because it is making us to communicate, and also the food that we are taking daily to do our daily activities, the energy we are getting and we are enjoying our food, this is because of the tongue. This tongue has this taste bud so that we are able to enjoy and cherish the food. Okay, that's why we can say the tongue is the most fascinating organ in the buccal cavity or oral cavity, and it is highly muscular. Okay, it is highly muscular, and it is made up of striated muscles even though there is no bone. Okay, in the previous video while I'm explaining the types of muscle, okay, there are three types, that is smooth muscle, striated muscle and cardiac muscle. And we know that these striated muscle they are found, or you can say skeletal muscle, they are found attached to the cartilage and bone. And we know that the tongue doesn't have any bones, but still striated tongue have the striated muscles. Okay, this is the one exception. And if you want in detail about the types of muscles, you can go back to that video and watch it if you need. Thank you. So now we will move on to the next point. It is under the control of our will. Okay, that means it is voluntary, right? So it is under the control of our will. Means we can turn the tongue, we can twist the tongue to push the food between the teeth and to swallow it. And we are going to because it is under our control, because see we are tapping the tongue, we are turning the tongue and twisting the tongue even while communicating and while producing any kind of music or making a or if you are a singer, so to produce different kinds of sound. This is all because of the voluntary nature of the tongue, because that is under our control. And as I mentioned before, this tongue carries a number of taste buds that are sensitive chemical substances in the food. So that's why we are able to release food and due to the taste buds on the tongue. Okay, that is about the introduction of the tongue. Now we will learn in depth about the tongue. So the tongue is a triangular muscular organ situated in the oral cavity or in the buccal cavity. So you can look at in the diagram here which I have drawn. So this tongue is a triangular. Okay, you can look at here, it is triangular and muscular organ which is located in the oral cavity. Now we can just have a look or on your own mouth, you will get to know it is in the triangular muscular organ which is located in the oral cavity or the buccal cavity. Now we can the next point is the tongue has a body and the root, that is base of the tongue. So here this is called the body and this is called the root. Okay, this part is called the body and this part is called the root of the tongue. And here the body forming the anterior 2/3 and the root forms the posterior 1/3. And in this diagram you can see this is the posterior region and this is the anterior region. Okay, the body forms the 2/3 of the anterior region and root forms the posterior 1/3 region of our tongue. Remember, all these points are very important. Concentrate and listen to this video so that you will feel easy to learn, because I'm explaining slowly and explaining with the diagram clearly. Okay, now anterior part of the tongue is free. You can look at the tongue. We will put the tongue out of the mouth because anterior part of the tongue is free, but posterior or the root or the base of the tongue is attached to the floor of the buccal cavity. You can test it on your own mouth. The base of the root means this part, the base of the root is attached to the floor of the buccal cavity. Now, and this the body of the tongue has skeletal muscle disposed in all three directions, that is transversely, longitudinally and vertically. So in this, when we take the section, we can observe that in this body part, that is anterior to third region, it has a striated muscles which are transversely, longitudinally and vertically, they are disposed, are distributed here. Okay. Now, and actually this presence of this skeletal muscle, as I mentioned before, the skeletal muscles helps in the mobility. So that's why our tongue is highly mobile organ, we can say. Now the tongue has two surface, right? The tongue has two surface, that is lower surface, or you can say ventral surface, and the second is upper surface or dorsal surface, or you can say dorsum. Okay, as we take, so if you think this is the tongue, so this part will forms the upper surface or dorsal surface, and this forms the ventral surface. Okay, now first we will discuss the lower, this is the upper surface and this is the lower surface. This lower surface is covered by striated squamous epithelium, okay, and which is not cornified. Which is not cornified means which is not keratinized. Okay, and it has a lamina propria, and which is thin and which is closely bound to the skeletal muscle. Okay, this is about the lower surface of the tongue. Now we will discuss the upper surface, or you can say dorsal surface. So I have drawn the diagram of the dorsal surface here. I have a look over here. So now we will discuss in detail about the upper surface. So the upper surface is again divided into two regions, as I mentioned before, that is anterior region, that is anterior to third region, and posterior 1/3 region. Okay, and which is divided, okay, by a V-shaped, that is inverted V-shaped line, that is called as sulcus terminalis. So this is called as sulcus terminalis. Okay, and again this anterior region, that is 2/3 part, is also called as oral part. Okay, and this posterior region, that is 1/3 part, is called as pharyngeal part. Okay, now we will move on to the some other points here. So in this, now in the upper surface, again we are going to get the oral part, that is anterior part, and posterior part, that is pharyngeal part. Now we will first discuss this, the oral part. Okay, as coming to the oral part, here the oral part of the tongue is raised into projections, or you can say finger like projections, called papillae. Here in the tongue, on the tongue, there will be a finger like projections on the tongue. You can, if you want, you can touch and feel it. Okay, finger like projections, those are called as papillae. Okay, in papillae there are four types, that is first one is filiform, and then second one is fungiform papillae, and third one is circumvallet papillae, and the fourth one is foliate papillae. And all these four papillae of the tongue, okay, all the papillae of the tongue is called as lingual papillae. If you have to call singular form, that is papilla, and plural is papillae. Okay, the papillae means all these four types of papillae of the tongue is called as lingual papillae. And here each papillae, okay, those are finger like projections on the tongue, these each papillae has a covering of striated squamous epithelium, that is cornified, means that is keratinized, and it has a core of connective tissue called as lamina propria. So you can so this each papillae is covering of striated squamous epithelium. This point is very important. Striated means many layers, okay, one by one, like that. Squamous means flat cells. Okay, it is made up of striated squamous epithelium, which that is cornified, means that is keratinized. So you can look at in the diagram here, these actually it is made up of striated squamous epithelium, which is cornified, and it has a lamina propria, which has the lamina propria. Okay, and these are the skeletal muscles which are spreaded longitudinally and vertically, okay, transversely, like that. So, and this forms the connective tissue, and these are the blood vessels, and these are lingual glands. Okay, and these are the types of papillae, and we are going to discuss that now one by one. And this after this when within each of these papillae, the papillae that these act as a primary papillae, and within each of these papillae there may be a projections of this lamina propria into the epithelium. Okay, into the epithelium, this actually forms the secondary papillae. Okay, now the papillae are vary in their structure and the distribution on this oral surface of the tongue. So there are 4 types of papillae, that is Filiform papillae, Circumvallet papillae, Fungiform papillae and Foliate papillae. Now we will learn all these 4 in detail one by one. Okay. Now the first one which I am going to explain is Filiform papillae. So as in the name indicates, the word filiform means thread like. Okay, and these Filiform papillae are narrow. Okay, these Filiform papillae are narrow and these are cone shaped. You can have a look here. So the ice cream that we are eating, cone ice cream, so like that, this is in the shape of cone shaped projections of the striated squamous epithelium, that is cornified. And we have to remember the first papillae which I am explaining, that only they doesn't have taste buds. Okay, like that you can remember the one which I am explaining at the beginning. Okay, and the rest of the 3 papillae have taste buds, and the Filiform papillae doesn't have the taste bud. And these Filiform papillae are numerous and are widely distributed over the oral surface. You can see here these Filiform papillae are numerous. Okay, and they are widely distributed on the oral surface of the tongue. Okay, there are so many Filiform papillae and they are distributed on the oral surface of the tongue, that is anterior to the region of the tongue. And here if you have to look at here in this diagram, you can have a look here also. This is called as the Filiform papillae, which are cone shaped. Okay, and which are cornified and they doesn't have taste buds. And they are arranged in parallel rows across the tongue near sulcus terminalis. They follow the V-shaped line. Okay, and when coming to here, as I mentioned here, there is a V-shaped line that is called as this is called as sulcus terminalis. So below this, parallel to this, these Filiform papillae are arranged. Okay. And there is a primary papillae which is made up of lamina propria, and these primary papillae, okay, these primary papillae that are extending. Okay, these actually forms the primary papillae, and these are extending into the epithelium that actually forms a secondary papillae. Okay, there is a primary papillae made up of lamina propria and with extension forming the with extension to forming the secondary papillae. And these Filiform papillae, the important function of this Filiform papillae is that when you consume very cold and hot food items, like cold items like ice cream, or hot ice cream, hot food items like coffee and tea, it will protect that time. It will protect our tongue that time. Okay, that's about the Filiform papillae. We will move on to the next part. Okay, that is Fungiform papillae. So as in the name indicates, the fungiform, fungi means it is in the shape of mushroom shaped papillae, and that is having a round and broad apex and narrow base. Okay, you can look at in the diagram, they have round, okay, apex and narrow base. So you can have a look in this diagram also. This actually called as Fungiform papillae. They have a round apex and narrow base. And these Fungiform papillae, they are numerous at the tip of the tongue and margins of the tongue. So as we look at here, so they are numerous at the tip of the tongue and lateral margins of the tongue. So you can see here at the lateral margins of the tongue. That is actually from the Fungiform papillae. And these are papillae which are not numerous as that of the Filiform papillae. The numerous ones are only the Filiform papillae. These are very less in number, and these are scattered among the Filiform papillae. These Fungiform papillae are scattered among. You can look at in the diagram here. So these are Fungiform papillae. They are scattered among the Filiform papillae. Now, and these actually Fungiform papillae bears taste buds. That's why it helps in the tasting. And here there is a core of primary papillae, okay, and there is a core of primary papillae, and there is also a secondary papillae, but the epithelium doesn't follow the outer line of the secondary papillae. That's why these are very smooth and round, and this epithelium is thin and which is not cornified. Okay, here the fungiform papillae is cornified, but here the the filiform papillae is cornified, but fungiform papillae is not cornified, means which is not keratinized. So that's actually underlining the blood capillaries in the secondary papilla are seen, making it a dark pink in color. Okay, that's about the fungiform papillae. Now we will move on to the next papillae, that is third papillae, that is circumvallet papillae. Now let us learn about the circumvallet papillae in detail. Here the circumvallet papillae are domed shaped papillae. Okay, these are domed shaped papillae. You can look at in the diagram here. These are dome shaped papillae, and these are the one which are the largest papillae among the four types of papillae. Which one? That is circumvallet papillae. All the four types of papillae, and these circumvallet papillae are very less in number, and usually they are about 7 to 12 in number. Okay, and they are narrow, they have the narrow bases and broad free ends. You can look at here. So they have the narrow base and broad free ends. Okay, so and these papillae, where they are located on the tongue, then so we have to know that, right? So these papillae are arranged in the form of inverted V along the sulcus terminalis. So you can look at the diagram here. So here these actually called as the circumvallet papillae. So these are located in the V-shaped along the this is the sulcus terminalis line. Okay, these are located along the sulcus terminalis line. Those which are those, that is circumvallet papillae. These papillae are arranged in the form of inverted along the sulcus terminalis. Now we will move on to the next point. This is as I mentioned before, these are the largest papillae, and they are slightly protruded from the tongue. That's why they are slightly protruded from the tongue, and they are surrounded by a circular furrow. Okay, they are like a pit. Okay, they will form a pit like thing like this. Okay, they are surrounded by circular furrow or a pit, we can say. So in this circular furrow, the duct of the serosa gland opens, and which secretes the serosa. Then what is the function of this serosa? Means this serosa washes away the any food particles, okay, which is present in this furrow. Okay, and as I mentioned before, these have numerous taste buds. The circumvallet papillae have numerous taste buds. Especially you have to mention where those taste buds are located on the lateral wall of the papillae. And same like that of the fungiform papillae, these circumvallet papillae are also covered by striated squamous epithelium, which is not cornified. Okay, this circumvallet papillae and fungiform papillae are not cornified, but filiform papillae is cornified. Okay, and same as like that of the fungiform papillae, the papillae, they are supported by underlying lamina propria that forms the primary and the secondary papillae. Okay, that's about the circumvallet papillae. We will move on to the next papillae, that is foliate papillae. So as in the name indicates, these are broad leaf shaped papillae. Okay, and are present at the posterior lateral margins of the tongue. So you can see in the diagram here. So these are located on the, this is the posterior region, right? So posterior, and this is the lateral. Okay, these are located in the posterior lateral region, and they are very less in number. Though which are those? That is foliate papillae. Okay, and these foliate papillae, as I told, they are very less in number, about 3 to 8 papillae, and these are very similar to circumvallet papillae. This foliate papillae is also surrounded by a groove or a furrow. In this furrow, the ducts of the serosa glands will open, and it secretes the serosa. Okay, and these foliate papillae have numerous taste buds. So while I'm explaining, and again and I'm saying that while I'm explaining all these four types of papillae, I used these have a taste buds, these doesn't have a taste bud. Then in the examination, they will ask which papillae doesn't have the taste bud. That is filiform papillae doesn't have the taste bud. Other is the one question they may ask. And if you have to say as I'm mentioning again and again about the taste bud, now we should focus on what are these taste buds are, how they are, what are the structure of these taste buds. So we will get that questions in our mind, right? To know about those, we are getting the curious, because we are tasting, enjoying our food because of the presence of the taste bud. So we should that will create interest on us to know how they are sending the message to the brain, what are the structures that is helping them, right? So we will learn about the taste bud now. These taste buds are sense organs of the taste, or you can say chemoreceptors, okay, which are responsible for the detection of the chemicals in the food. Because, and we are very particular about the type of the taste in each dish because of this taste bud. Because you see, if we eat the pickle, we feel very sour, and if we eat the sweet things, we feel the sweetness. So, and if we eat anything bitter, we'll feel the bitter taste. Okay, all these taste, it is we are help to recognize and enjoy the food because of these taste buds. So now we will learn about the taste bud, structure of the taste bud. Here taste buds are the small oval shaped body. So you can see these are small oval shaped body which is present in the epithelium of the lingual papillae. Okay, which is present in the epithelium of the lingual papillae. Lingual papillae are nothing but those are four types, that is fungiform papillae, filiform papillae, circumvallet papillae and foliate papillae. These papillae will be present in the epithelium of the lingual papillae. If you have to say, mention the location of these, so these will be present here, okay, like this. Okay, these taste buds will be present there. Okay, and these taste buds at the apex, if you look at the apex or on the epithelial surface, it has a small pore. Okay, it is the apex of the taste bud, or you can say it is towards the epithelial surface. It has a small pore that is called as taste pore, or you can say gustatory pore, or you can say gustatory pore. Okay, at the apex, this is the apex region or the epithelial surface. It has a small pore called as a taste pore or the gustatory pore. Now we will move on to the next point, that is each taste bud have three types of cells. Okay, those are receptor cells or neuroepithelial cells, or gustatory or sensory cells. Next is supporting cells or sustentacular cells, and third is basal cells. Okay, three types of cells. Okay, you can look at in the diagram, that is neuroepithelial cells or receptor cells, and then supporting cells, and then basal cells. And these two, that is receptor cell and supporting cells, are mature cells. Okay, and they are present and are arranged in layers resembling an onion. Now you are getting an imagination of onion. Get an imagination of onion. When you look at the onion, you are going to see the layers like that they are arranging. You can have a look here. You can see this is the neuroepithelial cell, and this is the supporting cell, like this alternatively, like that of the onion. These are arranged. And coming to the basal cells, as in the name indicates, basal cells, they are located at the base of the taste bud. Okay, they are located at the base of the taste bud, and these are very small. You can look at in the diagram, these are very small. And these basal cells are the stem cells. Okay, so that's why they can proliferate and produces other two cells, that is supporting cells and the receptor cells. Now if you have to say this receptor cell and or you can say neuroepithelial cells, or these are long spindle shaped cells with a dark and spindle shaped nucleus. Okay, so these receptor cells, or you can see these are long and spindle shaped cells, and the nucleus is spindle shaped. Okay, and one end of the tongue of the one end of the sensory or receptor cell projected into the taste pore, and which bears a microvilli that forms the taste hair. You can look at in the diagram here, this one end forms the microvilli hair like structures. Those are called as taste hair. And the other end of the receptor cells have axons that joins up to form the nerve fiber conveying the message to the taste center of the brain. You can see here other end. So this other end will make it has an axon that joins to the nerve fiber that will sense the signal to the brain. Okay, that is about the neuroepithelial cells and receptor cell. This point is, which I just told, that point is very important. Okay, And the next one is supporting cells. Supporting cells are long spindle shaped cells, but the nucleus is round or ovoid. So these, if you look at here, these are supporting cells as like that of the neuroepithelial cells. These are also long and spindle shaped cell, but you have a look here at the nucleus here. The nucleus is round here in case of supporting cells. In case of receptor cells, those are spindle shaped. Okay, that's about the supporting cells. Now this taste bud, so how the mechanism of taste is taking place. So how we are tasting the food means, these receptor cells are provided with nerve fiber at the base. As I mentioned just now, these are provided at the base. These are provided with the nerve fiber, right? And the apex, they have a special receptor, and at the apex they have a special receptors. So from there, special receptor, or you can say taste receptor, when the food is mixed with saliva, this fills the gustatory pore or the taste pore. That fills, when we have the food, this fills the food fills this taste pore or gustatory pore, and that one comes in contact with the receptor. Okay, and that food will comes in contact with the receptor, and this receptor receives the signal, and the signal sent to the brain through the nerve fiber via 7th, 10th and 9th cranial nerve. Okay, this is how the food is tasted. Okay, that's about the body of the tongue, okay, or you can say oral part of the tongue. So as you remember, we are discussing the upper surface, that is anterior 2/3 part and posterior 1/3 part. So now we finished the anterior 2/3 part, that is oral part. Now we will move on to the posterior 1/3 part, that is pharyngeal part, and this part. Okay, so the root of the tongue or pharyngeal part, it is the posterior 1/3 part of the tongue, and this pharyngeal part is also covered by striated squamous epithelium on the dorsal surface. And this root of the tongue, this root of the tongue doesn't have any papillae. Okay, so as you can look at in the diagram, I have not mentioned any papillae here. Okay, it doesn't have any papillae. And the underlining lamina propria is made up of reticular tissues, and there is an aggregation of lymphoid tissue that forms the lingual tonsils. You can see these actually forms the aggregation of lingual tonsils. Okay, now each tonsils has a crypt, or you can say pit, that is lined by again the stratified squamous epithelium and lymphocytes. Okay, and there are mucus glands that secrete the mucus, and here in this place you can see the mucus glands and those that will secrete the mucus. Okay, that's about the root of the tongue. Now we will look at the glands, because glands are very important. So now we will look at the glands of the tongue. Okay, or you can say lingual glands. Okay, those glands of the tongue are of 3 types. Okay, as I mentioned before, you know 2 types, that is serosa glands and the mucus gland, and the third one is the seromucous, a combination of these two. So seromucous gland are mixed glands. See, this is very easy, you can remember very easily here. See, the first type is serosa gland, second type is mucus gland, and the combination of both is the mucosa gland or mixed gland. Now we will learn the first one, that is serosa gland, which is also called as von Ebner's gland. And these gland, a group of serosa glands are located in the region of the circumvallate papillae. Okay, these are located in the region of the circumvallate papillae. The ducts of the glands open into the trenches, nothing but was which I have mentioned as a furrow or a pit. Okay, they open into the furrow or pit, and the the secretion fills this trench or the pit with a watery secretion, that is serosa secretion. Okay, that's about the serosa gland. Now we will move on to the next one, that is mucus gland. Here the mucus gland, these are seen at the root of the tongue. Okay, so just now I explained these things. They secrete the mucus to lubricate the root region, allowing the easy passage of the tongue. So you can see on your tongue, if you open the tongue, so you can see the mucus glands at the at this part, okay, at this part, so that will help to passage the food to the mouth very easily. Okay, Now we will move on to the next uh, point. These are they are most numerous and they extended forward and seen among the serosa glands. So as I mentioned just now, explained about the serosa gland. So serosa glands are present near the circumvallet glands, right? And these mucosa glands still come to this part also. They extended forward to this area also, so that will helps in the easy pushing the food, easy passage of the food to the mouth, okay, inside the mouth. And the ducts of the mucous glands open into the crypts, or you can say pits of the lingual tonsils, and into depression between the tonsils. You can see they will open into the tonsils. They open into the tonsils. That's about the mucosa gland. So now is the seromucosa gland, or it is also called as glands of Nun. So these are located in the anterior region of the tongue. So these are located in the anterior region of the tongue. And a pair of group of mixed mucous and serosa glands is present in anterior part of the tongue near the apex. So tongue in apex region, okay, the front part you can in the front part you can see these mixture, that is serosa and mucosa, both will be present. And also on the ventral, ventral means lower surface, on the ventral surface, this is upper surface, and this the ventral surface, there also they can see the seromucosa glands, and they open by several ducts on the ventral surface of the tongue. These are actually called as the glands of the Nun, okay. And this is about the histology of tongue. I guess I have covered all the part of the tongue, that is introduction, tongue, dorsal surface, ventral surface, and the parts of the tongue, that is oral part, and then the oral, that is two-third part, and posterior pharyngeal part, and also the types of papillae. So every in detail I have covered everything. So I am hoping that this video will be helpful for you all. And if you learn something new, please subscribe to my channel, and that will help me to do more videos, and that will encourage me to do to put a more effort to make to help you all. So thank you everyone.